Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Robin McKillop. Get that GED. And today we are going to start geometry. And we're beginning with circles. It's a big part.
I was wondering if there's any way you could send it to Walmart.
All right. And so we'll get going on circles and I'll show you all the stuff you got to deal with. All right. Let me switch cameras. All right. So we are looking at, here's your formula sheet. Let me clear this. This looks a little blurry. Bring it down a little bit. Clear it again. All right, so today we're going to be dealing with the area of a circle, which is pi times radius squared, and I'll write these bigger so you can see them, and the circumference of a circle. And we have actually two different formulas. I generally use the 2 times pi times radius, but you can use pi times diameter. Doesn't matter. They both give you the exact same answer. And for GED, pi is always going to be 3.14. So when you're looking at your calculator, there is a pi button right here, but don't use it because this is really, really specific and it'll change your answer. It won't be the answer the GED wants. So don't use the pi button, use 3.14 for pi. All right, let's take a look. We've got area is pi r squared. And circumference is 2 times pi times radius. All right, let me get this out of here. All right, when you are looking at circles, you can have two different measurements. You can either have the diameter, which goes all the way across, or they can give you a radius, which is half the diameter. So that goes from the outside edge to the center. The radius is the measurement you want for area. So if they give you the diameter, you need to cut this in half. This one says 4 inches for the diameter. That means the radius is 2. These are easy because it's 4 inches for the radius. That's all you need. All right, so let's try a couple of these. We'll deal with this one first. It's already got the radius. We want to find the circumference. The circumference is the measurement all the way around. So let's pretend circumference is a fence line. Let's say this circle is a field with a fence. When you are measuring circumference, you're measuring the fence. When you're measuring area, you're measuring everything inside the fence. So let's start with circumference. We're going to have 2, and here's the formula for circumference. 2, that's just part of the formula, times pi, which is always going to be 3.14, times the radius for this one is 4. And you can just type that into your calculator. Let's see if you can see that all right. We had 2 times 3.14 times 4. Their circumference for number 1, believe it or not, that's number 1 up there, is 25.12. Then the area is going to be pi 3.14 times the radius, which is 4, but squared. So 3.14 times the radius squared. So for that one, I'm going to clear this again. This looks really blurry. That's a little better. 3.14 times 4 exponent key 2 arrow out of the exponent mode 50.24. So the area is 50.24. Now, one thing that you should be aware of in geometry, a lot of the homework and the work that we'll do, we do all of the, we do the area, circumference, or area and perimeter for other shapes, surface area, volume, all of those things we can generally do for most shapes. They don't necessarily have any relationship between the numbers. So this was the circumference of circle number 1 up there. This one was the area. And even though the area is double the circumference, that doesn't usually happen. There is no relationship between the different measurements of circumference or perimeter, area, that sort of thing. So don't look for a pattern. And it's highly unlikely that on the test you'll be asked for both. They'll just ask you for one. All right, let's do a couple more of these. They're not too bad. Geometry is actually this part of geometry, measuring shapes, is not horrible, especially area and perimeter or area and circumference. It's a little bit easier. Let's do one with a diameter. So these circles are all diameter. Same exact formula. I'm going to push this up a little bit. Same exact formulas. You just have to remember to cut a diameter in half. Let's try number 10, where the diameter is 10. So we're going to start with the circumference. And this will be number 10. This one was number 1. So we're looking at circumference is 2. That's just part of the formula. Times pi is always 3.14 times the radius. The radius is half of that. So the radius is 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and write it down for area, and then I'll do the calculation. So the area of this one is going to be 3.14 or pi times the radius, again, 5 squared. All right, let's use the calculator. And let me bring this over a little bit so you can see the calculator as well. There, that's better. And we've got 2 times 3.14 times 5, 31.4. That's hard to see. So 31.4. And then the area will be pi, 3.14 times the radius squared. Hit that little tent button right here. That'll give you the exponent box. Hit 2, arrow out of that mode, then hit enter. 78.5. So 78.5. Nice. So not bad at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you select the 2, Robin?
How do I select the what?
Yeah, the 2.
Oh, the 2 is just part of the formula right here.
Okay. But
So
how you select the calculator? The calculator.
oh,
Which
the
button?
exponent.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see that? Let me get this light there. That's a little better. Maybe. So what you will do, let's say we have 5 to the second
Yeah.
power. We're gonna hit
No, everything I done exactly like you done, but the last one, the 2 you added, how you add that 2?
right up here.
Yeah, the 2. Yeah, after the 5. Yes, yes. How you
Yeah,
add that 2?
so you hit the little tent and
Okay.
pushes it right up. That's now an exponent. Type in the number that you need, then arrow out. So you're back, so your cursor is back on normal. Then enter
Okay, the front one arrow. The front one arrow.
up here.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, now I get it. Now I get that.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's for this one, pi times the radius squared. And your calculator will do that beautifully. And that's just using this little tent button for your exponent. Oops, I've got an answer in there. So if we said 8 to the 3rd power, and then you arrow out of exponent mode, enter, and 8 to the 3rd power is 512. So this is not a bad calculator. It can speed things up,
Yeah.
which is really nice. All right.
So it means you have to multiply all the time. It's almost like that.
Yeah. All right, let me pull these down. The bottom of this particular page is good practice.
Mhm.
So you remember that the radius is half of the diameter. Diameter goes all the way across. Radius only goes halfway. So if you get a problem with the diameter, just cut it in half. This one would be 2, 1, 4, 5, 6, 2.5.
But yeah.
And then you can try, you can do this for all of the ones above. All right, I brought you some others. Why did I bring you more? Just so you had more practice. Let's try some of these. Now, these don't look as fun. They're in decimal mode. Your calculator doesn't care.
Yeah.
These are just fine.
Yeah.
This one is a diameter. This one's a radius. So let's do this one first. We've got circumference is 2 times pi times radius, and the area is pi times radius squared. All right, let's do the one with 8.7 first. So that's going to be for circumference. The 2 is just part of the formula. So 2 times 3.14 for pi times the radius. So 8.7 divided by 2, it's going to be 4.35. And your calculator will do that for you. You don't have to worry about it if you don't want to. And those are your numbers for circumference. And then your numbers for radius would be, or excuse me, numbers for area would be pi times the radius squared. So the first thing you can do on one of those, if you get a decimal like 8.7, and if you just want to be absolutely sure, you just divide it by 2, 4.35. Then you just type in these numbers. So
So
2,
all the time you have to do this 8 divided on 8.7 divided on 2.
you do not need to write it. You can just type it right into your calculator.
Okay.
I write it just so you can see it. But yeah. go the easiest route. So our circumference for this particular circle is 27.318. Now, the GED test will tell you if they want you to round. They usually have you round to the hundredth, which would be the 1. So the answer would be 27.32, because that 8 would round the 1 up to 2. So do always check the instructions on any geometry problem, because they may want you to round either to the 10th, which would be the 3, and then it would just be 27.3, or to the 100th, which would make it 27.32. Then we'll do the area, 3.14 pi times 4.35, that's the radius. Then we want to hit the little tent button to the second power, arrow out of that, enter 59.42. If we round to the 100th, the 6 will turn that 1 into a 2. So 59.42. 59.42. Nice. And it's much, much easier, I think. Well, it's not much easier. It's easier when they just give you the radius, because you don't have to worry about cutting anything in half. So for this one, we're just doing, for the circumference, 2 times pi times the radius is 4.2. And then for the area, it's pi times the radius, 4.2 squared. So we come back with our calculator, and we've got 2 times pi, 3.14, times the radius is 4.2, and that would be 26. If we're going to take it to the 100th, the 6 is going to turn that 7 into an 8. So it's going to be 26.38. And then
Well,
the
that's
change
the
the-
nearest number.
We
That's
changed
the nearest
7,
number.
Leo, 4 to 7.
yeah, normally GED will have you round to the 100th, which will be the second number after the decimal. And so to round it to the 100th, that 6 is going to push that 7 up to an 8.
8. Okay.
Answer will be
If that
20.
was 4, it will be 7.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. And then 3.14 times 4.2, again, the little tent button, squared, arrow out of exponent mode, enter. And again, we're going to go up right here. That 9 pushes that 8 into a 9, 55.39. 55.39. Not too bad, huh?
Yeah.
And again, you don't need to write any of this out, because if you look at, let's do,
Just let me know the formula style will be same all the time, like as you do it.
oh, say that again.
Like the formula you done for the last one. It will
Yeah,
be same for the all the rest of all.
it'll be here. So the area of a circle, pi times radius squared, and the circumference of a circle. And again, there's 2. You can use either one. I always use the one with the radius, because the area uses the radius. But you can also do pi times the diameter. So let's try that. Yeah, let's do this one, that would be pi. So 3.14 times the diameter is 3.1. And that would be 9.73, because that 4 doesn't change the 3 at all. So 9.73. And that was using pi diameter. And then we'll go back and we'll do it with the radius, which will be 2 times 3.14 times 3.1.
Can you just push the calculator? See.
It should be the exact same thing unless I did it wrong. I did it wrong. What did I just do? I used the wrong formula, didn't I? Yeah, 2 pi r, duh. No, that's 2 pi r. That's interesting. Why did that not come up the same? Okay, let's try this again. You can use 2 times pi times radius, or pi times diameter. Oh, that's what I did. I didn't find the radius for this one. That's what I did. See, I used the same radius or the diameter. I should have used a radius on that one. So that's going to be 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which means 1.55. And now that should be 2.73. Perfect. There we go. Does that make sense? That one, I used the diameter and I should have used the radius. This one is when you do pi times diameter. This one is 2 times pi times radius. Same answers. Nice. Woohoo. All right. Is there anything else you need to know about area of a circle? Let's see. And if you ever run into a really strange number and you're not sure how to break it apart, like here, our diameter is 0.5. You let your calculator do the work. So 0.5 divided by 2, 0.25 is your radius. So get to know your calculator and let it do the heavy lifting. All right, so these that I sent to you have the answers on the back. So good practice. And make sure you've got your formula sheet. So you've got your area and your circumference. And pi for GED is always 3.14. And the nice thing is you've got it. So let's say you're testing and you just have a momentary brain freeze. You've got it. It tells you right here that pi is 3.14. And it tells you here that pi is 3.14. So again, you've got some helps on the formula sheet. You do not need to memorize any of these because you'll have this available. So that's good. That's good news.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to write any of it down, just punch it in. I just write it down so you can see it. All right, what do you think?
Yeah.
We're going to do triangles next week. It's going to be a longer class because you've got, once you figure out how to deal with triangles, you know, area and perimeter, all of a sudden they want you to find the hypotenuse. So it'll be a little bit longer. It's not just 2 formulas. This ends up being the Pythagorean theorem. So it'll be a busy day. But give these a try. You've got the answers. And even on that other page, if you're new to diameter and radius, work on this. because that'll get you far more comfortable in remembering to cut the radius in half. So for number 2, the diameter was 12. That means the radius is 6.
6.
Then you can do the circumference and the area for each one that isn't already done. Nice. All right. What do you think about circles?
Yeah.
Did they ask for the area too, or only circumference?
Circumference and area.
Both?
But they probably won't ask for both on the test,
Mhm.
but almost all the worksheets ask for both.
Okay.
So you end up having some pretty good practice in doing both, because this one asks for both. It's interesting. They didn't write, they didn't give you lines to fill in, but the answers show you both. And I will say the one thing I don't love about the GED geometry is you won't just get a circle. They'll
Mhm,
give
they-
you a composite, which would be something like a field or, farmland. There might be a house on it. There might be a pond. There might be a road. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at a lot of different shapes, aren't you? You've got the whole farm, a rectangle. You've got the road dissecting that farm into 2 big triangles. You've got a house made out of a triangle and a square. You've got a pond that's a circle or a sphere. This is what they end up having you do. I don't think you'll ever see one shape where you have to find both the circumference, perimeter, and area, but you will likely have multiple shapes to deal with in one problem. So, and then they'll probably say something like, so what is the area of the field minus the house and the pond? So you would have to they'd give you enough measurements to figure it out, but you'd have to figure out the triangle and the square on the house, figure out the area for both, figure out the area for the pond, and then figure out the area for the whole thing and subtract these. So, and I have composite problems, and we'll do those in a couple of weeks. But for now, just get comfortable with each individual shape, and then we'll get going with the multiple shapes. Super fun, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I'll let y'all go. I'll see you tomorrow for language arts social studies. If you need anything, just send me a message. And if I'm slow to answer messages, I found that I'm getting so many that they get buried. So you can always send me an email. Email is probably a little bit faster, because messages just, they start, one on top of the other, and then I lose them. All right, so have fun with this. Give it a whirl. Next week, we'll be doing triangles, Pythagorean theorem. And the week after that, we'll do the other shapes. Then we'll move into volume and surface area.
Thank you, Robin.
Oh, you're welcome.
Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you in the
Yes.
morning.
Were you able to send the stuff for tomorrow's work?
Yeah, I can probably do that. And that way you
So I
can,
can print it out.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, everyone, have
Bye,
a great
everyone.
day.
Yeah, I'm a great day,
You too.
Robin. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.